Hello adventurers, and welcome back to my channel. While here in San Antonio, one of the things I definitely urge you to go and check out are the missions. The missions are a pivotal portion of not only the San Antonio landscape, but also of the Texas landscape. So today I thought, what better way to share this message with you than to take you on a little tour. Now, we are here at the National San Antonio Mission Site, and we are about to explore some of the many and beautiful missions on the property. I think that you're going to enjoy this one, guys. This one's going to be very special. So buckle up, and here we go. We have actually the chapel offices, but I just wanted to show it to you anyway because it's beautiful here. And as you can see, this is the St. Juan Diego Chapel. The doors look like they're hand carved and they are gorgeous, and they actually still have services and use their bell. This is so beautiful. Now, they are celebrating 300 years of the chapels and the missions, and I think that that is so epic. So another reason why I wanted to share this with you. Again, I told you this isn't just San Antonio history, this is Texas history, and it is awesome. This man is known to be the patron saint of Texas. Now we hear music playing, and it's just right over here. We're here on a Sunday, so I feel as though they probably are having services. So I'm going to do a little bit less narration and let you all just see the beauty of the mission itself. It's absolutely gorgeous, and we're just going to be quiet. Back at the property, I did want to share this with you. This is one of the signs that they have placed around here, and it tells a little bit more about the function of the buildings that we're seeing. So it also gives us a few little facts and also quotes, and something I really like about this is it is very inclusive. It has both English and Spanish on here. In addition, there is an audio tour that you can actually log on to and listen to, and you know I love a good audio tour, so we might have to check that out in a minute. I'm going to have to go and check out this site and see if I have good service. Now, every so often around, you'll find these. As you can see, these are little ovens, and they could cook things or create things using them. And then along the outer rim, we have rooms that would have been kind of like apartments. We just learned that not only would people who were coming through the area be able to stay here, but also the Native Americans would have been able to stay here as well. Missions truly were a place that everyone could come together, and that was kind of cool because it was a safe haven. Now right here we have a little bit more information about the Indian quarters, and it gives you an example of what it might have looked like when this was thriving. So as you can see, they had a pretty decent amount of space, and they would be creating and making all of this different kinds of things. Like it looks here like they're grinding corn to make meal, and over here I don't know what exactly that they're hanging, but it's quite interesting. Very cool. They were having their service, and after the service ended, the bells are now chiming, and it's very different than what I've thought that a bell would sound like based on other bells that I've heard at other churches, where it's a nice dong, gong. Next to these beautiful doors in this amazing doorway with all of these etchings is overwhelming. It's so large, and it's absolutely gorgeous. Just to scale here, the actual door that opens, that is an average sized door, is right here, but it continues onward and onward and onward until you get up to the bell tower way up here. Going to move around to the front of the building. Now the service is over, so I don't feel like we're going to be disrespecting anyone now. I didn't want to step in to the middle of things. It's for the vlog for obvious reasons, and you should always respect that. So check times and then arrive after that. We move around to the front. This is some of the original facing that we saw in that original photo. So over time it has become this. However, it once was covered with this amazing pattern. I'm hoping that whenever you all are able to come out here that this will be complete and you will be able to go fully through the building and see all of the amazingness. Just being here in this moment and seeing it as it is amazing to think back to the historic past of this mission and the part that it played here in Texas. But this is not the only one. We have a few other stops while we're on our little tour out here. So the visitor center here is closed, and because it is closed we have to use the offline map. So we did go ahead and download that, and this is where we have started off, right here at Mission San Jose. This is the state historic site, and we are now going to move on to some of the other points of interest along this National Historic site. This overall loop is about 10 miles that you can do all sorts of trails or just go directly to the missions. There's about 2 to 2.5 miles between each one from what I was reading, and you know, that's a great exercise. But again, it's hot outside. It's only 11 o'clock almost, and it's probably already into the high 80s. The humidity here is rough. Okay, here we go. We have 2 different missions, San Juan and Esperada. So I think that we're going to start off with San Juan, which is right over here and through this gate. It's kind of nice to know they do have an actual bus loop that brings you to each one of the stops. Right here is Mission San Juan, and it does look a lot different than San Jose. The walls here are much smaller, and the mission itself is a lot smaller. Okay, with that particular drive that we just took, would you want to walk that distance between the two?
No,
Not in this heat. It would be too hot, I think.
Yes.
So I definitely advise during the summer months at least, unless you are in excellent condition or can take a lot of water with you, to just drive from stop to stop or take the bus. I think that would be better, don't you?
I agree. That's 2.5 miles in this kind of heat.
Not enough of all that. Let's go see the actual mission. You can see why we're here and why it's so cool to come out to sites like this. So I don't mean to be funny, but I totally was just filming and Mom took a dive. There's uneven surface whenever you're walking into the buildings.
That is not funny.
It was so funny. And I actually have the clip, and depending on how I feel when I'm editing, you may be seeing it right now. Oh, and if I feel nice, you won't be, but we'll see.
It will be in the video.
This is a little step up or down. Be careful. There is a huge difference in the way that these look from the last one. The last one had a lot of apartment style surroundings, and tons of little doors, and the preservation there was immaculate. This one has a wall, but it's much smaller, and the buildings and structures that are kind of around it are a lot different looking. I don't know if it's because this one wasn't as well maintained over time, or if it was damaged in one of the conflicts. I don't know, but it just feels very different. What I'm talking about, this is the largest structure right here, and the volume and size of it is much less than the much larger building that we were just at. Then we have numbers as we walk down the path next to this stone structure. I do want to get to this building, but first something caught my eye down this path. A little area back here that I found, and it's just really nice. It looks like they probably still utilize this. Now here on my channel you see all sorts of different places that you can go, and I try to cover a variety of different kinds of sites because I think that all of the sites together make up this wonderful world that we live in. So it's really important to see everything. And again, these places like this serve a big, huge chunk of Texas history. So it's important to come out. So if you're watching this and you're thinking, I have no business going there, I'm not Catholic, you're wrong. You should definitely come here, and you should read the stories and do the background work to kind of understand why these places were so important in our overall landscape. Up here is where the bells would ring, and they still actually are connected, so they still can utilize these bells. Looks like as of right now they're using the outdoor space in the middle for their Sunday Mass, and so these doors are not currently open to the public. My goodness, Mom actually found something that could help us out. What is that, Mom?
Let's look.
Oh, it's a brochure, and it has information about the missions on here. This is going to be so helpful. Okay, by finding this, it also helps out because that section that we found that had like the numerical order, this was all Native American living quarters. So between 1770 and 1950s restoration, a lot has happened clearly, but this is pretty cool to now know what that was exactly instead of it just looking like a flat, non-dimensional surface. A little patch of grass with a stone outline may not look like much now, but this was the creation of the first church, was actually done right here. It was a stone church, and from there they were able to move into much grander scale items like that.
Well, they went out.
Of course, this is just a footprint of a portion of it. It was larger than this, but still, this is all that remains of what once was. And it is overshadowed by those who are just visual by this by far, but it's important to know that this was here too. And might I add, the wall that would have gone all the way around, that would have been very similar to the last one that we were at, is gone. It's completely gone. There's nothing left of that. Only the lower lying walls that were indicated on that still exist today in some form. So to me, it makes me question a lot of things. Like, for example, if the first church was here and this was the second church, and then they got to this church but never completed it, why? Like, really, why? This one was 1775 and never completed. And if it would have continued on course with creating it the same way that they had this one, what would it have looked like? How would it have been different? Why did they stop? There's so many questions that could be raised just by seeing this incomplete structure, but also to see how this structure was created but not finished. So we have tiny little rocks, layered rocks, the mortar mix, all sorts of different things that are used. So without plaster, that's what this looks like. So what does this one look like without plaster, I wonder? We'll never know. According to this, the mission also served as a hub of commerce. So just a few little figures here as we look at the mission. At one point in time, at 1797, a document was found and 30 different everyday items and luxury articles were hauled from the north and in central Mexico. The journey was about 30 days, and the packed cart had a grand whopping total of $26,000 at that time. That is insane. Here at the mission, although most of the structures are much older, we actually have a post-colonial house which was constructed in the 19th century. And this one looks like it has a door where you can actually walk in. Again, not open right now, but it just kind of goes to show how some of the techniques for building kind of stuck with us. The wall itself was meant to keep everything safe on the inside, but just beyond the wall was where you would actually find many of the farmlands that they were able to cultivate tons of crops on. This is the floodplain area, so it thrived, and it was the source of many of their resources, but also things that they could sell to others. Okay, so now that we have kind of looked around the grounds here, Mom, what did you think overall?
Very fascinating. It gives us an insight into the past of what people long ago, where they lived and the conditions maybe which they lived as well, and just the space. And in this area, it was very much of a thriving area.
Yeah, it really was. And I think that's what's cool about coming to places like this, is you get to learn those things, because otherwise we're not from San Antonio, so we don't know as much about their past specifically. So coming to these places, we get to learn a little bit about the San Antonio history, but also how that history forwards on into the bigger picture of Texas. Without these places, Texas wouldn't be where it is today. Just before you get to the Mission Esperada, there's actually this turnoff that goes to an aqueduct. This aqueduct was originally used to irrigate all of the lands that we were just talking about that they used for farmlands. And they created this system so that they could use gravity-filled like dams and basically tubes so that the water could pass through and get to these areas. As we're walking to this, Mom, have you ever seen an aqueduct like this?
I have not actually gotten to see one like this placed out in real life, no.
That's really cool. So this isn't just a first for me, it's also a first for Mom. And I think it would definitely probably be a first for you as well. This was all man-made and actually carries water. It looks like just a bridge right here, but this is the aqueduct. And as you can see, they allowed for the regular moving water to be able to still pass through. At Mission Esperada, and this is the last mission on the mission trail toward the south. This one was really epic, so whenever we were coming up to it, you could see it, and although again the church itself is not as large in appearance, the form of the structures is so amazing to see, just jutting out at the turn. So I can't wait to go inside and see what all of the mysteries that we can unlock inside this one are. We are somewhere along this row right here, and the structures, which obviously once had roofs, no longer do. We're about to move over to this area, and this area is still active and in use, so it is a private area. I was hoping that maybe we could go inside, but out of respect for the church and the services that they hold there, I don't want to go inside and be in their way. The structures I just pointed out that no longer have roofs, obviously, and there has been extensive damage to the walls where they are no longer fully standing. However, they do give us a little bit better of an idea as to room size than some of the other places that we have been, because you can actually enter in and see the sizing of the overall space. I've been to a lot of different places, and in those places I've seen many different kinds of civilizations and dwellings that have long since passed, and this footprint that we're seeing here is very consistent with what I've seen in other locations. So it's nice to be able to still see where things were and envision in your mind with the signage what it might have looked like at the time when it was thriving. Here we see what this building in front of us might have looked like on the inside. This is a huge building. It's hard to really gauge the size of it, but it's really massive. And at one point in time, it would have housed all of these different items, including melons and chilies, spices, corn, even chocolate or squash, sugar, beans. And this is where they would have organized things and also worked within to get everything kind of how it needs to be for trade and things like that. In this corner, we would have had the blacksmith, and the blacksmith would have been the person who was in charge, or the people who were in charge of doing everything from making sure that the horses had shoes to maintaining all of the metalworks within the area. So this would have been a very busy location right here just for day-to-day function. Again, this is the footprint of the old church. It's pretty large, but actually they say on the sign over here that it was not the largest structure. The building where they facilitated all the food storage was actually larger. This is an idea as to what the church might have looked like at the time that they were using this structure right here. Over here you can see someone's taking some photos, but this is the more modern structure that is now being used. And it's absolutely beautiful out here. The landscaping is lush and gorgeous. And I do see that on this end there's actually a gift shop. So I think we're going to go in there and see if we can learn a little bit more. Confined space, they are asking that we wear masks inside of the gift shop itself. This is the first structure that we've actually been able to go inside of, so mask, here we come. We are ready to go in. Now, whew, this mask is not wanting to cooperate already. Guys, the masking in 90-degree temperatures is very difficult. There were some really nice things, very nice. So if you're interested in stopping in, I would definitely urge you to do so, but remember, bring a mask to go inside. There also is air conditioner. That felt amazing. Now going to go check out the front part of the church itself. Again, we're not going to try to enter because it is a private space where people go to worship, but this is very nice and it's so cool looking. The grounds here are amazing, so amazing. They're so well manicured, and this is so impressive. Every detail, again, just very intricate, well put, smaller, but amazing. Last look at these beautiful grounds. Absolutely beautiful. I think with this being our final setting, this in the background looking so gorgeous and beautiful with the landscape grounds, we're gonna call this video a wrap. I've had a wonderful time out here with you guys looking at some of the missions here in San Antonio, and I definitely urge you to come out and see all of this historic amazingness. There's so much that a single location could tell, and this series of locations paint the bold picture of the beginnings of San Antonio, but also the foundation of Texas. So until next time, guys, I hope you have enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure that you like it, hit the subscribe, check out the interactive map below for even more exciting adventures. Until next time, bye guys!